Welcome or welcome back to day 92 of our chess journey to 1500 ELO on chess.com. I'm raring to go. Let's just jump on ahead and find an opponent. Hopefully the microphone is a bit louder today for those of you who have said the volume's been a bit low recently. I've moved the microphone up and I moved the mouse over to the side, so there should not be too much of an interference, I guess. Do we get another Najdorf? Apparently. The annoying thing with the Najdorf as black is you don't quite know what white's going to play, so well, it's not always ideal because the white can prepare for one variation, whereas black has to know every single white, or rather all of white's moves. But it might not be that bad, to be honest. Let me just calculate quickly here. What happens if this. We could still get forced to trade off our bishop here. Is this a move? Typically speaking, when I've been looking at moving this knight here up like this, it interferes with the plan of playing b5. How about this? Honestly, this is never really an inaccuracy per se. It's just a matter of choosing which system to go for. I think we can come up here and, well, if knight takes, we just take, and we should be good. I think in terms of evaluation here, the difference should probably only be something like 0.2 or 0.3 at max from the top engine move. e5 might have been a move here though, but as I've been mentioning recently, I'm not quite familiar with playing the Sicilian with e5 included. Although I should probably set aside some time to have a look at it and have a look at the plans that follow. We get this, but now I think we can come up here, and if this is played, something has to take here, and we can fianchetto our bishop without having to worry about trading it off, which might be an option here. We could come up like this, which might perhaps threaten this move, because this bishop is undefended. Although this does appear to be somewhat risky to me. Is it risky though? Is it risky? This, I think, comes with the idea of playing like this, but what happens if we get this move, and let's say this is played? Then I don't quite like our position. Once this bishop gets defended, we don't want our queen on b6, so instead let's just develop like this. And I see at some point here we transposed into the English attack with bishop to e3. At an opportune moment here we could see g4. The queen does come up here, and we have to ask ourselves what our best or our ideal plan here is. I think taking here seems to be okay at least. And then this battery has to be broken apart, and we can get our bishop here without having to trade it off. At least that's what I'm thinking here. Of course, this would force us to move our knight 2 times in the opening. But sometimes you just break opening principles if you have a good reason to. I don't quite know whether this reason here is justified or not, but at least there is a plan and logic to follow it. We can castle, And our opponent here is likely to just come down the board here and apply some pressure. This pawn is not hanging because of the knight defending it. This knight can't quite move yet. We could castle, we could play b5. I don't quite know what we're gonna do with this bishop yet. It does not have any mobility in this direction. Could come here and block our e-pawn, which is not necessarily ideal. d7 might be a square. So honestly, it's either this. I don't quite like this. Or this. First of all, I think we might just castle here, which is the most solid move. And most likely we will see a response like g4. Here we can't quite play h5, or maybe we can. The annoying thing is, if takes, we could get this, but I don't quite know whether this is good or bad. h4. Okay, so I think h5 is a logical move here. And this, I think we just take here. And I think importantly here we should take with the bishop. Because if this is played, we want to take with the knight, I think, to block off this file. Just want to make sure we don't have any tactical ideas here. Honestly, we don't have to play h5 even, because this is not a threat, we just take a free pawn. So then I think we can maybe execute our own attack. That's just one idea here, and finish our own development. Do we play this or this? I think getting the bishop out here seems to be decent, although this is probably good as well. I think honestly b5 might be better because it's going to prevent our opponent from getting the bishop into the attack along this diagonal. There is a4 here, but then I think we just get free tempi here and just accelerate our own attack. So let's just come down here and see how our opponent responds. This does not do a whole lot, as I mentioned. This is no longer a move. This, and well, I think we just take, to be honest. And then we have an open file, or rather two open files, staring down at the opposing king. And surely that's got to be decent. We do need our pieces though. Just need to find out where we want them to be. Honestly, bishop to b7 might still be an idea here, because it might just prevent our opponent from pushing pawns. And I expect this pawn chain here to be broken apart at some point, in which case this bishop will have a great diagonal. d5 might be a timely pawn break in some positions here, although I don't think we can play it just yet. But this move will support that push should we want to. It's honestly quite fun living here, because I've been mentioning here we have helicopter sounds from the neighboring hospital, and we've got train sounds at times, and now we have the bells from the cathedral here just across the river ringing in the background. I don't quite think you guys can hear it, but I can quite well. There is a charm to it, of course, and I definitely do not mind. This might even be a move in some positions I'm noticing, because we might threaten this here, which is annoying, and it kind of prevents further pawn moves. However, our knight could be hit there. I don't quite know what the ideal square or idea here is. Is this a move in some positions? Honestly, it looks annoying, but is it annoying? It's played. And now we have to calculate. We have to calculate quite well here, or we could find ourselves in a whole lot of trouble. I think h5 here makes a lot of sense. If takes, takes. And I don't think our opponent has a lot of threats against our king. At least I don't see any. And our knight here will be able to execute this kind of annoying plan, as I've been mentioning. We don't want to sack, I think. I don't see how that's going to work. This doesn't do a whole lot. There might be some moves I'm not seeing here, some computerish moves or some not so obvious moves, but I don't see an alternative to h5 here. If this pawn is pushed, well, then that's good, I think. Then our opponent's attack will be dead. Let's come up and see how they respond. This might be a funny move, but it would just hang a pawn. Like this even. But we get takes. We will take here. Should be a first move. And what does our opponent do now? This pawn can't quite push. We get this. Now we do have to make a decision though. Do we take with the knight? Or do we take with the king? Taking with the king here is going to expose us to ideas like this. However, there is nothing here yet. And this might put our knight in a slightly awkward position. Or is it an awkward position? It's a bit difficult to evaluate, but there's an argument to be made here at least. This knight on the edge might not be that bad, because we have this and we have this as good alternative moves. Or ideas at least for our knight. And also it blocks h4 from being pushed to h5 and further on. So I think, following that logic at least, taking with the king seems to be slightly better. Now, once again, we do have to get our pieces out, as currently we are just chilling on the back rank. Which, I mean, there is nothing wrong with chilling, but ideally an army does not remain in its camp for the entirety of a battle. One fun thing now would have been if our opponent played like this and we just got a fork. But well, there is nothing here. But what is there? This pawn here is luckily defended by another pawn, so this g file is not that dangerous, I think. And considering the h file is currently closed, I don't quite mind our position. This might be an idea. Looking to play like this and remove our knight. What happens here and here though? If this is pushed, honestly that's not quite ideal for us. So do we have a better response to this? I think maybe this looks good. This, however, is a move I did not quite see. I don't think it's dangerous though, because I think we might have this move, which is what I'm looking at. We can't push. We can't easily defend the pawn. But this comes with a counter threat. So let's calculate. This does not look ideal. But what happens here? Is this a move here? If this is played, then this looks good, I think. But then this and our fork is somewhat avoided. We can't take because it loses the game. This. Let's have a look at this once again. Do we have this move? It's not ideal, but if this is played, maybe this is a move. And we're even in terms of material, I think, but I don't quite love the position. This takes. What happens here? I think I forgot about. No, we do have to take the pawn. No, we don't, because we can take here with check, and we can play like this, which I think looks like it works. So let's go for it. After this, I don't think we take the pawn. Pretty sure we don't. And now we might have d5 at some point, if we should want to. But not yet, I'm noticing, because the knight is still controlling d5. Takes. Ooh, but there is still this diagonal though. Let's have a look at this. Is this a move? We would just move back. And if this is played, we follow the same line we calculated, at least to some degree. Although our king being here on g7 now is somewhat annoying. This pawn might just be defended as well. We'll have to see how our opponent responds here and proceeds to play this position. This is a move I did not quite expect, although it's quite good. The only setback here is it might just allow us to play d5, which I think looks like a pretty good move. this would be good for us. We can't go like this, of course, is our opponent's idea, because it loses the queen. We don't have a fork, because the queen went to e3. I don't see any additional threats here. Is this dangerous? I think here we take this, or do we? The problem here is our bishop would become quite bad. Which I'm honestly not a big fan of. This move by, in and of itself kind of kills off our powerful bishop, although it might have to be played. Might have to be played. I don't see a queen move here that looks good. So I think we might be forced to play like this unless we want to lose a pawn. And then I guess we'll find a plan for this bishop, but for the time being, it's somewhat dead. Our knight here is not doing a whole lot right now, although it might have a quick way of rejoining the game. However, f6 is unavailable right now because of this pawn. So ideally here, I think one of our most important moves might just be moving our queen to allow us to play with the rooks. But if given the opportunity, e6 might have to be played to prevent this pawn from pushing, to prevent this diagonal from opening up, and to defend our own pawn. We don't quite have a threat here of forking because this is well controlled and we only have our queen as backup. Although it might be an idea to have a look at those ideas in the future. I genuinely dislike how our bishop here is just sitting on b7, kind of crying in the corner. Although now I think our opponent allowed us to play. No, we can't quite play this because it drops the pawn. I was going to say we could come here onto this great outpost, but we can't. Or can we? No, because rook takes. I was looking at this, 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 and this, which would be good, I think. But if we push and the rook takes, I don't quite see a follow-up. e6 feels horrible having to play. However, it comes with a threat and it opens up our queen in one direction at least. So let's go for it. I was really hoping for this remaneuver here, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We have this, which might or might not be a good or horrible move. Because if our opponent loses this h-pawn, this file becomes scary. Or well, it could become scary at least. Now though, I think we have a nice center and a crying bishop. This might allow us to reposition our knight. Not there though. Maybe something like this. Our opponent's bishop should move at some point. This would be a mistake though, because it allows for this fork. Or rather, it enables it. Which let's calculate. If the bishop moves, we just take. So this. Yeah, I don't see a way of dealing with this tactically. There is nothing here. So that looks quite decent. I do have to mention though, if we had a dark squared bishop here, our position would be a whole lot better with all our pawns on the light squares. The queen comes back, defending the pawn. I don't think the pawn needed to be defended. Now I would like to leave this d-file with the queen. This hits this pawn, but it allows this move to come without any threats. Or rather, it allows the move to be played at all, I guess. This might be a move. This I don't think works. So 3 minutes left. Let's play quickly. It's either here or here. Although this comes with a threat, it kind of kills off our play on the c-file. So let's come here instead. Now we could come down this way. We still maintain pressure on this pawn. And the c-file is opened up. And our rooks are also happy. This square becomes available for the queen, although I don't see it being scary for us. This never works. I think we just take. No, we can't take there. If this is played, I guess we have this. So let's calculate quickly. This, this, and this. This can be played. We don't want to take with the bishop, I think, because it would allow the rook to come down with tempo. So we take this pawn there. We don't have our weakness on d5, and we have a massive majority on the king side. I think it looks like it works. This rook, I don't think we need it here, but I would like to move this rook first. Simply because we might want a rook here if this is forced open in one way or another. Do we play like this perhaps? That might be an idea. We'll have to see. 2 minutes left on our clock. Is this ever a move? It kind of hits all the stuff here horizontally. This is not really a threat, although our opponent could get somewhat scared, I guess, of us opening up the king like this. Now this is an annoying move. I forgot about this. We don't have moves for our knight. We might be forced to play king to h6 and meet this move with this. Oh, that looks scary. But I think it seems like the only move, and we have 1.5 minutes left. So I guess we just walk up with the king. So takes, or takes. This might be better, as we can just fight on the g file. And the h pawn can't quite come forwards, which I think I like. And now this square is open for our knight as well. Just want to make sure this is not better for us, although I don't quite like the position here. As this does come with some setbacks. f6 might be a move. Just trying to get something like this and some pressure. Is this a move? Really? If we go here and this is played, we take. This can be played. Oh, this is scarier than I thought. Our clock is also scaring me. But I don't think we have to respond to this. I think we'll come up here instead. Because I don't think we have to be too worried about this. Here, if we get this and this, we just play like this. Our king might be a bit far up, but I think we're good. This is played. Do we take with the queen or the rook? I think with the queen. Maintaining this pressure, threatening this. This looks okay to me. Could have taken with the knight as well, but I did not quite have the time to calculate this. This comes with a check, so it forces the queens off, unless our opponent does something about that idea. I think we have a better position here in an endgame, although I'm not 100% sure. This, and this, and we defend our pawn. Let's play it. We don't have a lot of time. "37 seconds. Our opponent here is also running low on time. I think we have to take like this because of this pawn here. Our bishop is still a dead piece, although that might change at some point. I think this is probably an idea. So we can move our knight and defend our pawns. I think we might have another helicopter on our hands. This move now threatens a fork as well, which hopefully our opponent here does not see. What happens here though? It might disallow us from playing this. Let's calculate this, 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 and this. Yeah, I don't think if this is played, we can't come here. However, now we get this, okay. So what do we do here? I think this rook might want to join the action. Is this our opponent's idea? Maybe. How do we open up our bishop? Maybe this. Looks like a decent plan. The knight can't quite come in either because of our bishop controlling those squares through the pawn here. So I guess we're up one pawn here, although it's not quite felt yet. We'll have to trade off some material, I think, to get our ideal position. Our knight, I think, I like the positioning of it. But I think we'll take here because our opponent's bishop was annoying as well. This, I think, is our critical move, forcing a pair of rooks off. Now this is not threatened, and we have more freedom here in the position. If this is played, I think coming back here, or no, actually I would like to come up and hit our opponent's pawns. It's defended, but now we might have this idea, gaining space and opening up our bishop, which was what we wanted all along, I think. Our knight, or our king rather, it's not in an ideal position. This, I think, seems to be good. Because you have this, this, and this will be played, but I think we win more pawns than our opponent does. And we might slide on back over here, win this pawn maybe, and push our g-pawn. Is this good? This might be a move as well, but pawn is pawn, as they say in the Russian school of chess. I think we can just take all the pawns. We'll come up here first, take this, We're up 2 pawns in a rook endgame. This, and we win this pawn. If this is played, I think we go here, holding our pawn. And now I think we can push our g-pawn. The rook is defended. I think we just come up here, and if our opponent wants to trade off the rook for our pawns, they're free to do so. Yeah, this is a win. We just get a queen. We could have queened this as well, but we only need 1 queen to win a game. Our opponent resigns, and we get a win today, bringing us up to 1442 ELO. Thanks for the game. Well played to our opponent. Let's jump on into the game review. Might have mentioned we played against VY012012 today. I guess I was a bit distracted when I started the video. Once again, as is typical in a Najdorf, we both get grilled by Stockfish. Apparently, or not even apparently here, it's just the Najdorf is an incredibly difficult position to play, and it often shows in the accuracies. Let's jump on ahead into the review here. We started off from this point. This was all good. Point 2 here in the evaluation. Is this perhaps the best move? No, it's not. The best move is e6 maybe? Surely that's what it says, right? e6, yes. Anyways, it's a low depth engine. This was not best. Once again, e5. We took. Computer did not quite like our plan here. e5 was the best idea. Here we should have went here, which I mentioned, but I did not quite love because it kind of kills off our e-pawn mobility, although it did not seem to be that important in this game though. This was not best because once again bishop to e7 was quite good. This was bad, should have come out with the queen. Immobilizing the knight because of the pin and because of this. This move allowed for this. And why is this bad? I don't think I would have evaluated this position as being too in favor of white, but apparently it is, because of this attack, I guess. But our opponent took here, we played the best response. King takes was best as well. This was best. Let's follow this line. Oh, this was best. What would have happened here? Oh, okay. Now this becomes a threat. So we should have taken here, here, here. Rook takes is not best. Yes, we have this, etc. Okay. We pushed, which was bad. I didn't quite consider this move, although I should have apparently. Didn't like this. And And we're just playing with a clear weakness. Or we lose it immediately, I guess. No, we don't. Because at the end of the line, we have this. I didn't see that far here. So didn't quite go for it. Instead, we pushed our pawns. This was horrendously bad. Should have defended the knight with the rook, which in hindsight makes sense. But considering the time situation, I only really saw the other move. This. I don't think I would have played this move. Because I think here and our opponent just slides on over. And we have more pressure aimed at our king. Although, apparently this is good because we break out. And this is annoying. I didn't see it. We had this instead. Our opponent blundered here. Apparently this was good. Followed by this. What happens here? It's just +5. Honestly, it's difficult to say it's +5, or rather I can't tell at least. I can't easily tell this is +5, although it does seem to favor white at least to some degree. This and this was a mistake. Oh, okay. This, and we have this apparently, which is just brutal. That's unkind to say the least. How about this? And here we take, and take. Yeah, this was... Honestly, this is not that easy to find, but it would have been fun if we found it. This rucksack here to win material. Anyways, here we played this instead, which maintained an advantage, although it was not the best move. We took. This was deemed an inaccuracy, but I thought it was a game-winning move because we simplified, which made it easier to play accurately. It's important here, I think, to just simplify as much as possible so that we can play accurately instead of trying to maintain a slightly better advantage and then maybe blundering. This made it a lot easier to play. We just got to gobble up the pawns. Oh yeah, this was easier. Didn't see this. This would have won us the game, as the king is forced to either hold the pawns here or come here and we get a queen. Still, it's just a matter of what we decide to do, but it would have removed all counterplay because now our opponent still had a rook, although it's still a pretty decent win for us. Should have queened this pawn as I mentioned. Doesn't really matter, we get a queen nonetheless. Well, anyways, this was a nice game today. I love the tactical niders, although I don't always play that accurately. So thanks to VY012012 from the US for the game. Thanks for watching to the end of the video, guys. This has been our game for today, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.